Welcome to our panel discussion on grammar teaching and approaches, where our panelists will be sharing their views regarding the different foci. We're going to start with focus on meaning. We'll start with Ms. Motsama IP. How would you briefly define focus on meaning?
It is an instructional approach prioritizing communication and understanding over explicit grammar instruction. We have 4 key aspects, which is authentic tasks, where learners engage in purposeful activities where meaning takes priority over accuracy. And then we have the second one, which is emphasis on fluency, comprehension and interaction. This approach is particularly relevant in a multilingual classroom where communicative competence is crucial. And then the last one is incidental grammar acquisition. Grammar is acquired through exposure and use rather than direct explanation.
Thank you. Ms. Kinosi, how can focus on meaning be implemented in the classroom?
Focus on meaning can be implemented by using a communicative approach where grammar teaching is done within the context of a certain theme and by means of an authentic test. An authentic test is a test that relates to real-life communication, for example, a newspaper article. Group work activities and role plays can be given to learners. This will help them to bridge the gap in their own knowledge. It will also focus their attention on meaning and not only on form. Learners can be allowed to use the language to say what they want to say in whatever way they want to say it. This can be done by using open-ended questions that focus on strategic and discourse competency. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move into the focus on forms. Mr. Chabalala, how would you briefly define focus on forms?
Thank you. So now, focus on forms is really about helping learners notice and understand specific language features, like grammar or vocabulary, in a way that connects to real communication. It's not just about drilling rules, but about showing how language works in context. By highlighting these forms in a meaningful way, learners can develop a deeper understanding of the language and improve their communicative skills.
Thank you. Ms. Motsama, what role does error correction play in focus on forms?
The role that error corrections plays is that the error of corrections is explicit and frequent, whereby it focuses more on grammatical accuracy, and the corrections are direct and they are explicit. They involve explicit rule explanation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving on focus on form. Mr. Fundi, how would you briefly define focus on form?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Focus on form means drawing learners' attention to specific language features like grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation, while they are mainly engaged in meaningful communication. The focus is not drilling rule in isolation, but rather it's on noticing and correcting forms as they naturally come up in context.
Okay. Can you give examples of classroom activities where focus on form is used?
Definitely. These are some of the activities that can be done. For example, interactive writing tasks, whereby learners, when a teacher gives them maybe a dialogue to write as creative writing, the teacher gives learners dialogue, and then afterwards they correct each other's mistakes using collaborative learning as a strategy. We can also use recasts, where when the learner's sentence says he go to school yesterday, which is a grammatically wrong sentence, we can then correct it together as a class, saying that he went to school yesterday, fixing those grammatical errors, as well as task-based discussions, whereby a setting such as this, where learners are going to discuss about form and also discuss about grammar as well as its functionality. I think those are one of, or rather a few of the activities that a teacher can come up with.
Thank you. Now moving to focus on meaning, Ms. Motsama P, how does focus on meaning treat the relationship between grammar and communication?
Grammar and communication are interdependent. Grammar supports meaning, communication provides the context, acquisition. Instruction prioritizes authentic communication, and then through exposure, interaction, and contextual use, learners build implicit grammatical knowledge without the constant explicit explanations.
Ms. Kenosi, how does focus on meaning affect learners' accuracy and fluency?
Focus on meaning improves learners' accuracy and fluency. Activities done in this approach focus on creating meaningful communication and not on the correctness of grammar. This makes the learners to have the confidence to use the language in a flowing and appropriate manner. So in this approach, learners acquire grammar rules implicitly. This means that the more they do language activities is the more they understand how to apply the grammar rules, where and when to use these sentences. It also develops their communicative competency. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kenosi, we're moving to focus on forms now. Mr. Chabalala, why would a teacher focus on forms instead of focus on meaning in a lesson?
Teachers might choose to focus on forms in a lesson when learners are struggling with specific language features like grammar or vocabulary. By drilling down into these details, they can help them build a stronger foundation and improve their accuracy, and it is useful when they are preparing for a task that requires precise language use and give them the support that they need to communicate more effectively.
Thank you. Ms. Motsama, how will focus on forms be beneficial to learners?
Focus on forms will be beneficial for learners as learners will gain clear understanding of understanding grammar rules, and they will help learners achieve accuracy in controlled grammar exercises, and it will also be useful for them as they need grammar rules to perform well in their grammar-focused assessments, such as creative writing and exam preparations. And lastly, it will be beneficial for learners who are beginners as they need explicit guidance on grammar structures. Thank you.
Thank you for your submissions. Now, this question goes to each panelist. The question is as follows. In which context, either exam preparation, academic writing, everyday communication, would each approach be more effective? We can start with Mr. Fundi.
Can you please repeat the question?
The question is, in which context, either exam preparation, academic writing, everyday communication, in which context would each approach be more effective in the listed situations, which is exam preparation, academic writing, and everyday communication?
You can say mainly exam preparation, number one, everyday life as well, because remember we live in a world whereby we communicate every day using grammar, and you need a well-constructed sentence in order for your sentence to make sense. So I think it in everyday life as well as in exam preparations, whereby learners are then assessed and are awarded marks, and if the sentence is grammatically incorrect, that means that the learner loses the marks. So during exam preparations, even the notes that the learners will have would then make sense, and then that is what I believe.
Thank you.
Okay. Focus on meaning is more effective on both communicative and content learning. Based on the non-interface position, language is acquired naturally. So the more learners complete communicative tasks such as the task-based language teaching, is the more they understand how to use the grammar rules in writing and understanding the complex text in literature, as well as how to use communication by being fluently. So this will be helpful in their exams, and it will help them to successfully complete their academics.
of understanding and comprehending what you know. So I think it will work best on communication, everyday communication and task-based, where fluency and confidence are more important than perfect grammar. Thank you.
And I believe that the focus on forms can be effective for all the contexts that are mentioned, as they teach learners how to be precise on their writing and their grammatical accuracy in their everyday communication. Thank you.
As my colleagues have mentioned, I think this goes hand in hand with one another. But now I choose to focus on forms because this will strengthen the accuracy of the language towards the learners. So it will also improve their day-to-day communication, because now focus on forms focuses more on the language on its own. So it helps these learners to be accurate when they speak or write this language, and also it increases how they communicate with one another. So this is how I feel that focus on forms would be the best strategy. I thank you.
Okay, well said. Thank you for your insights, panelists. As we conclude today's discussion, we have learned that grammar teaching can take different paths by either focusing on rules and structures, focusing on grammar through meaningful communication, or by prioritizing communication and fluency. We have heard that grammar approaches are perfect when in context and when learners are users of the language. I encourage you to consider your own classroom and the approach that suits your learners. I also thank our audience for their time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bana ba ga boitumelo ke so ba ke go tsamaya